Have you ever had those moments where you're alone, maybe alone in a crowd, as they say, but you're alone with your thoughts? And if you're honest, the thoughts that you're having are not those encouraging, building thoughts. They're discouraging thoughts. They're thoughts really that you would be perhaps afraid to share with other people. Things have happened. You're feeling things that you may not exactly know how to process, and all of these thoughts and feelings are rolling around in your head. What do you do when you find yourself in those moments? I asked, have you ever experienced that? The answer, of course, is yes. All of us have experienced that. What do we do when the thoughts that we're thinking are not thoughts that we would be interested in sharing with others? They're self-defeating thoughts. They're depressive thoughts. What do we do in those moments? This is the Mighty Oaks Daily Devotional. My name is Jeremy Stolnecker. And today we come to the 94th Psalm. The 94th Psalm, continuing to move our way through the Psalms. And the first, really many verses, the first 17 verses of the 94th Psalm really are the psalmist expressing his heart to God. And it goes something like this: God, it looks like the people who shouldn't be winning are winning. How long are you going to let these people win? How long are you going to allow these things to happen? When we get down to verse number 18, I love this because now there's some positive self-talk, if you will, and we need some positive self-talk. As long as it's tied to something concrete, it's tied to faith in God. That's what the psalmist does. Psalm 94, verses 18 and 19, I'd like to read those to you today. When I said, my foot slippeth, thy mercy, O Lord, held me up. That verse in isolation is a great verse. He had already talked about all of the things that are happening and the fact that it seems like the people who shouldn't be winning are winning. And he says, when I say to myself, in spite of all of these things, or in light of all of these things, that my foot slips, I'm not going to make it anymore. He says what? Your mercy held me up. I love this because he's thinking back. The author here is thinking back to times in his life when he's felt this exact same way and said, my foot is going to slip, I'm not going to make it. And God, in those times, you held me up. Why is it important to look back to those times? Because if you're feeling that way now, the past, God's mercy, God's blessing, God's work in your life in the past gives you the strength you need to go forward. If God did it then, he'll do it again. But he goes from that, verse 18, to verse 19. In the multitude of my thoughts, he says, in the multitude of my thoughts, all of the things that are rolling around in my head, in the multitude of my thoughts within me, thy comforts delight my soul. I love this because the psalmist is expressing going through something that I go through, those moments where my thoughts are out of control, in the multitude of my thoughts within me. There's so much happening in my mind. There's so many things, and they're not good things. They're not comforting things. In those moments, your comforts delight my soul. Here's what the psalmist is saying. When I'm having those moments that it seems like I'm not going to make it, when the thoughts in my head are not thoughts that I'd really want to share with other people, those are the moments where I need to step back and find comfort in what God has done, in the truth of his word, the promises made for what he will do. I need to find comfort in what and who is true. This is such a challenge. It's a challenge that I deal with all of the time personally. I need to set aside how I feel in this moment, even what seems to be real in my mind, the thoughts that I'm having, and I need to hang on rather to what I know to be true. God has been faithful. God promises to be faithful. He will be faithful as we move forward. I can trust him. I can hang on to him. And in that understanding, that reality, I find comfort for my soul. Thank you for joining me today. I look forward to talking to you tomorrow for another Mighty Oaks Daily Devotional. For more information about the Mighty Oaks Foundation and the work that we do for veterans, active duty service members, and first responders, please visit mightyoaksprograms.org.